I flew to Canada, and they took my weed. But not before I had been at the TSA in Los Angeles, you know? And I always show up at the airport high. It's just so much more fun to fly high, you know? And I like the game, like, are they going to catch me or not? I don't. So I'm at their x-ray in my bag, and here's what I didn't know. Now, here's the thing. I always fly with almonds because a couple years ago, I get diagnosed pre-diabetic, and now I know nobody gets high and is like, oh, where are the almonds? But that's fucking where I am right now. Yeah. Look, if you have to get high and look for unsalted cashews, you live my hell, you know? So, I'm at TSA, and almonds also, when they go through x-ray, they kind of look like a mass. They take it out because they can't see through it, so they'll think it's a bomb and they take it out. The almonds were near my edibles. So they take out the almonds, and I know what's near the almonds. And she goes to put the almonds back in the bag. I'm like, well, I guess that's it for me, huh? And she takes out my bag that had like 20 edibles in it. And she goes, do you want to talk about these? And I said, only if you do. And she said, do you plan on taking these on the plane? And I said, I'll eat them all right now if you need me to. I'm a fucking team player, you know what I mean? I got a problem with eating them all right now. I'm going to need a wheelchair when I land. I'm not going to know where the fuck I am. You're going to have to get my bags for me, but But so here we are, and so I flew up to Canada, right? And they fucking tricked me at the border because they took my weed twice. So the first time I fly up to Calgary, and I brought edibles with me because Canada, it's legal up there. So I was like, no problem, you know? And so, and again, I fly high, and I land, and the border people in Canada are so much nicer. They trick you. So I got off the plane, and the guy was like, how you doing? And I was like, pretty good. And he was like, how's the flight? I go, it's great. And he goes, great, I'm glad to hear it. Welcome to Canada. And I was like, thanks. And he said, do you have anything you want to declare? I go, well, like what? And he goes, well, did you have any cannabis or anything you'd like to declare? Do you want to declare some cannabis? And he was so nice, you know? So I was like, sure. He was so nice. He was asking. He was so nice, you know? And he goes, what do you got? I go, I got 3 edibles. He goes, is that it? I go, yeah. And he goes, that shouldn't be a problem. And I was like, great. And he goes, just walk down that hallway right there. You should be fine. Have a great weekend, Mr. Wolf. And I was like, hey, thank you very much. I fucking love Canada. I walk into the back. They're so friendly back there, too. They're fucking waving to me. I'm like, hey. You know what I mean? Waving to everybody. High-fiving some people. I sit down with this dude, and he's like, how you doing? I go, good. He goes, what are you here for? And I told him, he goes, man, I love comedy. And he started telling me who his favorite comics were, and I was like, that's great, man. He goes, maybe I'll come to see a show. I go, yeah, I'll hook you up with some tickets. He goes, that'd be great. He goes, I understand you had some cannabis, though. And I said, yeah. And he goes, let me take a look at it. What do you got? I go, three edibles. He goes, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Now, where I come from, where someone says that shouldn't be a problem, what that means is it shouldn't be a fucking problem. Right? So, I put the edibles down on the counter, and he goes, is it? I go, yeah. And he goes, all right. And he just slides them off the counter in his hand. He puts them in a drawer. He closes the drawer. And then I said maybe the stupidest thing I've ever said out loud in my entire life. I look at him and I go, but I declared those. You know what I mean? Like I thought, you know, like when your kid tells you the truth and he still gets in trouble. He's like, I told you the truth. I'm like, I don't gonna fucking care. You're still in trouble. So I go, I declared those. And the guy goes, yeah, that's why I have them. And I said, but like, I thought it was legal here. He goes, yeah, but you can't fly with edibles. And I thought, okay, that means I can fly with weed. So 2 weeks later, I'm flying up again. And this time I took my edible on the plane because I fucking learned my lesson, you know what I'm saying? Come get it now, motherfucker. I'll baby bird you if you want to, but that is all you got. You right? So I eat the edible. I'm high. I get off the plane. Another very friendly person waving to me. I'm like, And she was super nice. And she goes, how you doing? I go, oh, great. How are you? She goes, I'm doing great. She goes, you got anything to declare? Any cannabis? Now, I thought I was good with, I had rolled a joint. I had put it in a sandwich bag, and I had wrapped it in a paper towel because he said I couldn't fly with edibles. That doesn't mean weed, right? So I go, yeah, I got one joint. She was like, is that it, one joint? I go, yeah. She goes, you got anything else? You got any food? And I had some almonds. And I go to her, I go, well, I got some almonds. And she got so serious. And she goes, how many bags? And I was like, it's a 2-hour flight. Like, one bag. Like, I don't have enough saliva in my fucking body to eat 2 bags of almonds in a 2-hour flight. Like, a bag, you know? She goes, how many almonds in the bag? I'm like, yeah, I didn't fucking ask for a 75 count of almonds. I went to 7-Eleven, I bought the bag, and now it's here. And she goes, let me see the bag, and I held it out. And she goes, tip it upside down so I see there's no holes in it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on up here? Never asked to see the weed. Let's see the almonds. Like, what is happening, right? So I go back. She goes, is that it? One bag of almonds, one joint? I go, yeah. She goes, shouldn't be a problem. Head him back. I head him back, right? And there's this woman behind the desk, and she's really nice too, and she goes, how are you? I go, great, how are you? And she looks at the screen. This was so fucking weird. She looks at the screen, she goes, I see you got almonds. And I was like, is there a fucking shortage up here? Like, are you guys need almonds? I'd have brought a bag for everybody. I don't wanna tease you with my almonds, but yeah, I got a bag of almonds. She goes, how many bags? I go, one bag of almonds. And she was like, is that it? I go, yeah. And she goes, okay, that's fine. And then I said, do you want to see my joint? And she goes, oh, do you have cannabis? I was like, fuck. They didn't even tell her. They just wanted her to look at the fucking almonds, right? And so she holds it in the bag. And it's because it's in a paper towel. And she starts doing this. And she's like, and she goes, what is that? I said, it's a joint. And she goes, what is that, just like one big joint? And I said, well, you are holding it with 2 hands. It's the only kind of joint Papa flies with, you know what I mean? And she goes, great. And she puts it in the drawer. And I go, but I thought I could fly. I thought I could fly with weed. And she goes, who told you that? I was like, you guys. She goes, you can't fly with weed and you can't bring it into the country. We want you to buy it here. I go, just out of curiosity, what are you guys doing with it? And she said, we put it in holding. And I was like, right. Yeah. Yeah, I know what that means. I had a cop who was I had a friend who was a cop. You know what holding means? That means, when she goes home tonight, her roommate's going to be like, you holding? You know I fucking am. Because I asked her, I go, what do you do with that shit? And she goes, we burned it. I go, well, I was going to do the same fucking thing.